All the engines were busy. And everyone was excited. Sodor Day was the island's grandest celebration. Thomas and James were racing to the wharf. Whoever arrived first would be given a special. "I'm going to win," tooted Thomas. "No, I will," whistled James. And on they raced, faster than the wind, and more daring than darting arrows.
Thomas and James are racing to the wharf. Everyone likes to be the first, not second, third or fourth. Pistons pumping wildly, boilers fit to burst. There's something really special for the engine who comes first. Steaming through the countryside, imagine their elation. Speeding past the platforms and not stopping at the station. Racing under bridges and then rattling round the bends. A very special prize awaits the winner when it ends. Thomas and James are racing to the wharf. Everyone likes to be the first, not second, third or fourth. Pistons pumping wildly, boilers fit to burst. There's something really special for the engine who comes first. Children on the bridges waving as they both rush by. Going so fast, if trains had wings, you'd think they start to fly. Wishing and then whooshing, oh, but what's this up ahead? It can't be true, they'll have to stop, the signals turn to red. Come on, now win this race. I'll take a rest and set the pace. He's out of puff, he's out of steam. Hooray, hooray, the signal's green. Thomas and James are racing to the wharf. Everyone likes to be the first, not second, third or fourth. Pistons pumping wildly, boilers fit to burst. There's something really special for the engine who comes first. Thomas and James are racing to the wharf. Everyone likes to be the first, not second, third or fourth. Pistons pumping wildly, boilers fit to burst. There's something really special for the engine who comes first.
Thomas and James steamed into the wharf. First, James in front. Then Thomas took the lead. The wharf was buzzing. Barges chugged, cranes swung, and trucks rattled and rolled. Thomas and James raced by. The little narrow gauge engines whistled and wheeshed in surprise at the speed and the steam of the big engines. The thin controller was waiting. Thomas whooshed around the corner, puffing and huffing, just in front of James. "I won!" tooted Thomas. "Hooray!" "Bad luck, James." James's cheeks were as red as his paintwork. "I'll win on the way back to Tidmouth." "Well done, both of you," Mr. Percival announced loudly. "James, you are to unload barges here at the wharf." James smiled. He liked that job. Now he didn't mind losing the race. And the special goes to the winner, Thomas. Thomas was excited. "You are to work with Duncan. You will bring logs from the hills down to the wharf. It's a very important job." Thomas wished a whiff of steam. He was disappointed. He wanted to work at the wharf. And Duncan was tricky. He liked to tease the big engines, especially Thomas. "Duncan," added Mr. Percival, "please look after Thomas." "Mr. Percival says that because you mainline engines don't know the tracks in the hills," Duncan teased. "Yes, we do. Mr. Percival wants me to work with you because you little engines can only carry small loads," teased Thomas back. Duncan huffed crossly away. Later, at the transfer yards, Thomas was waiting for Duncan. Duncan puffed in. "Is that all the logs you can pull?" teased Thomas. James is waiting for me at the wharf. I can't wait for you all day." That made Duncan cross. Thomas pumped his pistons. His trucks were now piled with logs and he was ready to leave. Then Duncan had a cheeky idea. "I can show you a quick way back to the wharf, but you have to go over Rolling River Bridge. It's very high." Thomas wasn't sure. "You big engines aren't scared of high bridges, are you?" puffed Duncan. "No, we're not," huffed Thomas crossly. "I like high bridges. Please show me the way to Rolling River Bridge." So the two engines steamed off. Thomas and Duncan chuffed up to the junction. "Take this old track to the bridge," puffed Duncan. "It's downhill from the other side, straight to the wharf." Thomas's signal turned green. "Thank you, Duncan," Thomas tooted. And he puffed off. But Duncan didn't know the high bridge wasn't safe. It hadn't been used for a very long time. Thomas chuffed slowly toward the bridge. The bridge looked very old, and it was very high, and the ravine was very deep. Thomas could hear rocks falling into the ravine. He felt a little scared. "I like high bridges, but this one is really high. If I chuff slowly, I'll reach the other side before I know it," he puffed bravely. Wheel turn by wheel turn, Thomas edged onto the bridge. "I am brave and I am strong. I'll get to the wharf and it won't take long," he chuffed to himself. Thomas was now halfway across the bridge. The sound of the falling rocks was louder and louder. The bridge had started to shudder and shake. Thomas didn't like it at all, but he wanted to get to the other side. Then Thomas heard a mighty crack. Part of the bridge in front of him came away from the rocks. "Thunders and ashes!" cried Thomas. "I must get back to safety." He was very scared. Then Thomas started to reverse. He puffed slowly and carefully. Then there was another mighty crack. A large piece of the broken bridge fell down into the ravine below. With the biggest puff he had ever huffed, Thomas pushed backwards onto the hillside. "I'm safe," he cried. Just as the last part of the bridge groaned and swung over the deep ravine. Thomas peered down to the broken bridge below. "Oh, flatten my funnel," he gasped. Thomas puffed back to the junction. He saw there was another track. "Maybe this track goes to the wharf too," whistled Thomas. And he rattled away down the steep track. The track was covered in thick brambles and bushes. They scrunched and scratched as Thomas chuffed through them. "Whew! No one has been down here for a very long time," he huffed. And he puffed on. Then Thomas gasped. He had arrived at a hidden town. It was overgrown, rusty and very old. "Bubbling boilers!" Thomas cried. There were lots of old buildings and a station covered in ivy. "What a funny place to have a town," he tooted. Thomas was very excited. "I wonder what else I'll find," he wished. Thomas chuffed to a halt. "Fizzling fireboxes!" he gasped. Thomas had never seen such an amazing sight. There are so many buildings. It must have been a very large town, he cried. That looks like part of a tower. Thomas was very excited indeed. I must tell everyone about this, he tooted loudly. Thomas bumped and bashed his way along the old track. He had to spread the news. He whistled as hard as he could. Someone must hear me, he thought. So he whistled again.